You've also taken some heat this week with your comments saying that Senator Obama would rather lose a war than win a political campaign.
Yeah.
I can't believe you believe that.
Well, I'm not questioning his patriotism. I'm questioning his actions. I'm questioning his total lack of understanding.
But that is questioning his patriotism. When you say someone would rather lose a war, a candidate, that's questioning his honor, his decency, his character.
All I'm saying is, and I will repeat, he does not understand. I'm not questioning his patriotism. I am saying that he made the decision, which was political, in order to help him get the nomination of his party.
So putting lives at risk for a political campaign, you believe he's doing that?
I believe that when he said that we had to leave Iraq, and we had to be out by last March, and we had to have a date certain, that was in contravention to, and still is, to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General David Petraeus, when he never asked to sit down for a briefing with General Petraeus, our commander on the ground, when he waited 900 days to go back again, where young American lives are on the line. I think that's a fundamental lack of understanding, and I think the American people will make the appropriate choices.
But you're questioning his motives.
I say that it was very clear that a decision had to be made, and I made it when it wasn't popular. I took a path that I knew was unpopular. He made a decision which was popular. He chose to take a political path that would have helped him get the nomination of his party. Senator Obama doesn't understand. He doesn't understand, he does not understand, and did not understand, and still doesn't understand. So he made the decision that that was the best way to go to get the nomination of his party.
The gloves have really come off. This morning in an interview on ABC, he said, I think it was 7 times, that Senator Obama simply doesn't understand. He doesn't understand. Earlier in the week, we'll look at some tape here.
Senator Obama would rather lose a war in order to win a campaign.
Both of these men are smart, capable, decent men who love their country. I think John is treading on some very thin ground here when he impugns motives, and when we start to get into you're less patriotic than me, I'm more patriotic. I admire, respect John McCain very much. I have a good relationship. To this day we do. We talk often. I talked to him right before I went to Iraq, matter of fact. John's better than that. And he's not asked for my advice on this, but since you've asked me the question, I think both he and Barack have to be very careful here, because it's just not responsible to be saying things like that.
Let me ask you about another question of judgment, Senator McCaskill. Did Obama make a mistake in canceling his trip to visit the wounded soldiers at Landstuhl Medical Center in Germany? Let's take a look first, before you answer, at the new television ad McCain has put out going after Obama.
He voted against funding our troops. And now, he made time to go to the gym, but canceled a visit with wounded troops. Seems the Pentagon wouldn't allow him to bring cameras. John McCain is always there for our troops.
Senator McCaskill, the Pentagon says Obama could have visited those troops in the hospital at Landstuhl if he had just gone by himself as a U.S. Senator and not brought any campaign staff. Why didn't he do it?
Barack Obama chose to be on the Veterans Committee when he came to Washington. He could have been on any committee he wanted to be on. He was the first senator to file the Wounded Warrior legislation to take care of our wounded at Walter Reed. He goes to Walter Reed, Chris, without cameras. He doesn't take cameras. He made, I think, a very wise judgment when he decided once he left the congressional delegation part of his trip, it was a political trip. And he wanted to make sure that he never played political football with wounded soldiers. Now, the most disappointing thing about this ad is that it's beneath John McCain, because he's playing political football with wounded soldiers. And I think he's caught the disease that sometimes rages around here, and it's called, I'll say or do anything to be president, including an unnecessary character attack. And frankly, it shows that the McCain campaign is having trouble.
I think it is a distinction that can be made. Senator McCain, when he's traveled over there, has visited that hospital. I've visited that hospital when I've been over there. I think it's an important point about this trip that people need to take into consideration when they evaluate the trip. You know, it's getting lots of great, there was some great photos, great imagery, and that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you have a trip where he neglected to visit our wounded warriors.
Respond, if you will, to Senator McCaskill's charge that it is McCain now who is using the wounded soldiers for politics.
Oh, come on. I mean, that is laughable.
Well, I know this, that those troops would have loved to seen him. And I know of no Pentagon regulation that would have prevented him from going there without the media and the press and all of the associated people. Nothing that I know of would have kept him from visiting those wounded troops, and they are gravely wounded, many of them.
He's done it many times in the past.
In Landstuhl, Germany, when I went through, I visited the hospital, but the important thing is that if I had been told by the Pentagon that I couldn't visit those troops and I was there and wanted to be there, I guarantee you there would have been a seismic event. And so I believe he had the opportunity to go without the media, certainly found time to do other things.
Senator Hagel, Senator Obama and I visited the Combat Support Hospital in Baghdad to thank those nurses, those doctors, to see patients that were there, to bring a bit of greetings from home and profound thanks. That should be in the ad that Senator McCain is running. I think Senator Obama made a very wise choice. If there's any suggestion that a visit to a military hospital would be political, he made the wise choice not to go. But when we were in Baghdad, we made a point at the end of a very exhausting day to go in and see these magnificent young Americans and those doctors and nurses that give such tremendous care without a lot of fanfare, just to say thanks. He did it the same thing. We didn't stay in Kabul. We went to Jalalabad to see the soldiers of the 173rd. We stopped in Basra to see our soldiers down there. We went into Anbar province to see soldiers there. That is a completely distorted and I think inappropriate advertisement.
Let me add to that. As you know, Bob, the congressional delegation that you referred to ended when we parted in Jordan. At that point, it was a political trip for Senator Obama. I think it would have been inappropriate for him, and certainly he would have been criticized by the McCain people and the press, and probably should have been, if on a political trip in Europe, paid for by political funds, not the taxpayers, to go essentially then and be accused of using our wounded men and women as props for his campaign. We saw troops everywhere we went on the congressional delegation. We went out of our way to see those troops. We wanted to see those troops. And that's part of our job, to see those troops, by the way, and listen to those troops, Bob. And we do.
Do you think that ad was appropriate?
I do not think it was appropriate.
You do not?
I do not.